into another one of our Lords of Limited What's the Play videos. My name is Ben Warney, and I'm one of the co-hosts of the Lords of Limited podcast. And we've got a sweet What's the Play scenario for you here, as well as a sweet blue-white deck. But before we get into any of that, if you would kindly click the like and or subscribe button if you enjoy this video, and or leave us a comment in the comment section. Any and all of that will help grow our YouTube channel, and we would greatly appreciate it. So we've got blue-white Dream Trawler here, as well as a Heliod's Intervention, some Thirst for Meanings to dig for those cards, as well as a Mandomai's Prophecy and a Glimpse of Freedom, and the Sweet Oblivion Thassa's Oracle alternate win condition tech. So a very strong deck here. We are against Arch Nemesis LSV Sucks in Game 3, and they have a black-white aggressive deck with, unfortunately for us, Entrancing Lyre to hard counter our Dream Trawler. So if we dip in on this game here, they have the aforementioned Entrancing Lyre on the battlefield. We are on the back foot pretty significantly. It's our turn 7. We just drew Thirst for Meaning for the turn. We know we have a Flicker of Fate on top of our deck from the Scry here, and we're trying to figure out how to stabilize. So opponent can Entrancing Lyre tap Riptide Turtle and Entrancing Lyre tap Thassa's Oracle, like one on our end step, one on their turn, to push 6 damage this next turn down to 10. And we need to find something, some way to affect the board to not be horrifically far behind here. So plan is to cast Thirst for Meaning and see what we hit, and then name a card after we see what we draw off this Mandomai's Prophecy here. So if we tap our mana, and this is what we find. So land Dream Trawler, and we knew we were finding the Flicker of Fate. It's a pretty tricky situation here. So there's a world where we pitch land, name Flicker of Fate, and then Flicker of Fate, our Mandomai's Prophecy, get some value. But I think ultimately we're just too far on the back foot for that line because of Entrancing Lyre being so oppressive here. The other option is to pitch land Flicker of Fate and keep land Dream Trawler so that we know we're hitting our 6th land drop. We name Dream Trawler, we draw our 2 cards off Mandomai's Prophecy, but then we already know we're going to be at 10, and we know they can tap down Dream Trawler, so then we're taking 2 over the next, few turns from Sunmane Pegasus, and need to find some way to stabilize against that. And as far as ways to do that in our deck, if we take a look back here, we have the Double Witness of Tomorrow's, Heliod's Intervention, and Ichthyomorphosis, and that's about it as far as how we can stabilize against that. And still 24 cards left in our deck, so not great odds of finding those things. If we do, we'll be in okay shape, but I think potentially too far behind. So I think the third and the most drastic option here is to pitch land and name Dream Trawler and just hope we're naturally going to hit our 6th land drop. And so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 10 lands left in our deck. We're about 40% or so to hit on this next draw step, which is not like the worst odds on the planet. It's certainly doable. And if we do brick, we probably just lose the game. But I think if we don't do that, we're losing the game anyway. So if we go land Dream Trawler and we stick the Dream Trawler, they tap it down, we have to find one of those other cards or we're losing. The Dream Trawler is essentially nothing here. But if we do hit the land and we get to cast Dream Trawler with Flicker of Fate still in hand, one of the turns where our opponent goes to leave Entrancing Lyre tapped for our Dream Trawler, we'll then be able to Flicker of Fate Dream Trawler, eat the Sunmane Pegasus, gain 3, and attack them back and draw an extra card off of Dream Trawler. All of which I think goes a long way towards us winning the game. And even if we brick for a turn, we're probably in bad trouble. But I do think we're far enough behind here that we should have gone for that option. And it's pretty drastic, but I think our back's against the wall, and I think we need to take the most aggressive line. And I think keeping Dream Trawler Flicker of Fate gives us the best chance to win, because all we need to do is find a land, and we are in excellent shape. So I'll show you what we did here. We'll let this run for a little bit. We ended up pitching land Flicker, and ultimately on our next turn, we did end up drawing. It was odd here. Our opponent let us chump with a Thassa's Oracle. I think that was a mistake on their part, but we assumed we were going to 10 there. We did end up hitting the land. I think that would have led to us winning the game. As it played out, we cast Dream Trawler here, our opponent tapped it down with Entrancing Lyre, and they had a couple removal spells to keep us on the back foot to win with Captivating Unicorn and Sunmane Pegasus before we were able to stabilize and find Witness or Heliod's Intervention or one of these other things. So I think in that spot, we could see how the game was going to play out over the next couple of turns, and it was not looking good for us, right? Because of the pressure that Entrancing Lyre provided and knowing that Dream Trawler was going to be an ineffective card. And so I think ultimately that led to us needing to take a risky line to try to win the game, and ultimately we took a conservative line that gave us a chance to win the game if we hit one of those other cards, but I think not ultimately our best chance. So we ended up finding some ground blockers over the next few turns and just dying to our opponent's removal spells. So when your back's against the wall, sometimes the risky line is the appropriate one to take, and I think that's a really interesting decision on what to pitch with Thirst for Meaning there. So thank you again for watching, and as a reminder, please click that like and subscribe button if you enjoyed this, and we will catch you on the flip side for another What's the Play video. Thanks for watching, YouTube.